What's going on, everybody? This is Derek Huggins here. It's All Access Gospels, the Indy 411 on radio. Well, praise the Lord, everybody. How you doing, saints, ain'ts, friends, dog, cats, quarantine, bays, everybody, and wherever you get in, fit in. Listen, before I say another further, I need you guys to do me a big favor. I need all of you right now to like, share, and tag this video with independent gospel artists everywhere. If you know someone that's trying to break a song into radio, you need to get them on this live right now. If you are an independent artist, if you know an independent artist, if you know someone aspiring to be an independent artist, wherever you fit in, if you're an artist manager, if you're a promoter, wherever you are on the spectrum, I need you guys to get on this video right now. And we're giving you guys time to come in. In the meantime, before I introduce my guest to you guys, I want you guys to know that I need you guys to go over and follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter and Facebook at AA Gospel. And we are on YouTube, right? YouTube.com/All Access Gospel. And guess what? We are streaming live on YouTube as well over there. We're also streaming live on the Key of Gospel Facebook page and the All Access Gospel Facebook page. So listen, this is going out like 4 flat tires. I need you all to get with it, get into it, okay? So I'm so excited today because I have a wonderful person with me that I had on with me on Instagram live, incidentally, last time, because we were having some technical difficulties and we couldn't get it all together. But glory be to God, everything seems to be working in order now. And so I want to welcome who I'm going to go out on a limb and call her my friend. My new friend. She is the music director. She's also an on-air personality over at WNAP Gospel Highway 11 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Listen, we call her Radio Robyn, Lady Robyn McCollum. There she is. How you doing, Radio Robyn?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So glad to have you on with me today. And listen, you are a very busy lady. I need to let everybody know also that this beautiful young lady that you all see on the screen with me, she's also the co-founder of the Gospel MD Chronicles, you guys. And I believe it was just this past weekend, they had a phenomenal show. If you missed it, you missed it. You missed it. And you may be able to go on to their Facebook page. I believe it's the Gospel MD Chronicles. Go follow them over there on Facebook. And you can also follow Robyn at Radio Robyn, I believe, on all social media platforms. But Radio Robyn, I'm so glad to have you on. How you doing? You good?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad to be here with you.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here and just really grateful for the invite. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And we thank you for being here and taking your time. I know you're a very busy person. You have a lot going on. And so we certainly want to thank you for being here as well. I want to shout out really quick to Chris Amore, who is an independent gospel artist up in Joliet, Illinois. I also want to shout out to Shasha Music, who is down there in Florida, a gospel hip hop rapper down there in Florida. So welcome to all of you and everybody that may be watching. Listen, I need you guys to make sure that you are liking this video. Y'all know how it is on social media. So we need you to like the videos. We need you to share the videos. Why? Because you know all these social media platforms have algorithms that they go by. And so when you like the videos, when you share the videos, it increases our search capacity on there. And we want y'all to do that for us real good. All right. So thank you so much. Okay, so Robyn, just like last time, it's a little different because, you know, we're on the main platform this time. Okay, but I'm going to start out with my top talkers. This time, my top talker is something that I want to engage my guest on that's going on right now in the world. And as we all know that the presidential election has occurred, it is now decided, and I am here to give glory and honor to God that Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States, and Kamala Harris is the vice president-elect of the United States of America, first Black woman and woman of color and of Indian American descent. So God is good all the time. But
Oh yeah.
this is what I want to engage you on, Robyn. I will see if you will go there with me, because you may know this. You are there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm sure you have heard, perhaps in the news media, about all of this contention going on from the person currently occupying the White House, that allegedly that there's mass fraud, mass voter fraud on all hands. But the thing that was so crazy to me, Robyn, was why is all the alleged voter fraud happening in Philadelphia and Wayne County, Michigan, which is where Detroit is, and in Maricopa County, where Latino and brown people are, and in Fulton and Clayton County in Georgia, where Atlanta metro area is, in Milwaukee County, which is where Milwaukee, Wisconsin is. I'm just trying to figure out, why does it seem that our current president thinks that all of this mass voter fraud only occurred now in the whole country? It only occurred in 7 counties, and who all happen to have this one powerful thing in common. That was they're the largest counties in their states, and they are largely represented by African-American voters. What say you?
Well, let me start by saying I typically don't talk politics, especially publicly. That's number one. I don't really talk politics, but I will say that I think everybody can kind of figure out what's going on.
Sure.
This gentleman wants to have a second term at any cost. And I think we saw the handwriting on the wall. He actually told us that this was what he's going to do. He told us months ahead that this was going to be a fraudulent election. He told us months ahead that this is going to be a stolen election. He told us months ahead that mail-in voting would produce a lot of illegal votes. He told us exactly what he was going to do. So we shouldn't really be surprised at what he's doing. It is kind of tiresome and worrisome to deal with on a daily when you turn on the news. That's really, especially if you watch both sides, both have their arguments. But he projected this. It wasn't something that we didn't know was coming. I don't know why we thought he was going to just concede, because he told us he wouldn't. He told us.
Well, you are 100%.
And you know the old saying, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them. And you know what? It's so funny that you mentioned this, and I wasn't, because I was kind of nervous to introduce this one as a top talker for you, because I know most people don't publicly discuss politics and or religion. Because they're sensitive topics. Everybody's got their corners. Everybody has their beliefs, their ideological beliefs and things of that sort. But the reason I wanted to ask you about it was because it's such a hot topic right now that's going on in the nation. And a lot of it, because for me personally, it's because it's fraught with what I see as, I'm just going to be honest and put it out there, I just see it as blatant racism in my view. This is my view. This is not Radio Robyn's view. This is my view. That I see it as a blatant attempt to try to delegitimize the votes of African-American people. And we all know, all of us know as African-Americans, that this country has had a history with disenfranchisement of Black people across all spectrums, but certainly with voting. And voting has always been problematic in this country where it comes to this. And I just wanted to get that piece of it out there, that I feel like we're nakedly seeing it done in our face, that you're only challenging the votes in areas where there is predominant Black participation, and we need to be able to be on guard and alert about that. So I thank you for engaging there and for sharing your views. I got a shout out to Robyn McGee. What's up? Robyn McGee is watching us, and also my girl Amber, Miss Amber Shaw, down at KCOH The Source, 12:30 a.m. down in Houston, Texas. That's my girl, who has a wonderful show, New Day with Amber Shaw, every morning, weekday morning. That I try to catch it whenever I'm awake, because see, the way my sleep be set up sometimes, Robyn, I don't always make it. So Amber, just know I love you. If I'm not on one morning, it's because, listen, The sleep caught me up. Sandman brought me a dream, and he didn't want to let it go. Okay, but we appreciate all of you guys for watching. Thank you so all so much. And again, if you haven't liked and shared this video right now, please make sure that you do that for us, and we would appreciate that so very much. All right, so let's get down into the meat of the matter. And I know for me, you don't need an introduction, but I want to, for those that may be new viewers watching this and didn't get to see our Instagram live the last time, I would like for you just to kind of give a little brief biological sketch of yourself and your industry knowledge and experience and all that good stuff. And then we'll get into the meat of the interview.
Okay, well, after spending 23 years in IT, I have now spent about 17 years in radio. This will be my 17th year. I spent almost 6 years at Stellar Award-winning WIMG as started at middays, went to mornings, and left there as AMD at WIMG in Trenton. I came to Gospel Highway 11, which is my hometown station, born and raised here in Philadelphia. Grew up around great gospel music, including the station that I've spent 10 years at now. And so I serve now as a music director there, as well as afternoon radio personality. That's pretty
awesome.
much.
I love it. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, you are also the co-founder of the Gospel MD Chronicles. I want to really highlight that, Robyn, because you guys are doing fantastic work. I can't brag on this enough because, again, you know, I'm supporting anything that's going to be supportive of independent gospel music artists, and especially those who are trying to break a song into radio, and so that they understand some of the nuances, some of the traps, frankly, that a lot of them fall into, and how they can avoid unnecessary delay in trying to get their songs on radio. And with that being said, could you talk a little bit about the Gospel MD Chronicles, you know, how it got started, and, you know, what your plans are for the future and things of that sort?
Well, it is the brainchild of the music director and midday personality at Praise 100.7 WEAM in Georgia. And Pam Dixon is her name. And Pam is, like myself and the station that I am at, Gospel Highway 11, champions of independent artists, because we think independent artists have some great music, some awesome music. And of course, we both, our stations are part of the Nielsen panel. And so these stations are chosen simply because they play great music. They have a certain type of format. And we like to include independent artists in our rotations, just like we do mainstream artists. So one of the challenges that independent artists present to us is the fact that their music is not serviced well, is not produced well. Their approach sometimes is not professional. So what we wanted to do, what Pam wanted to do, is come together and put together a forum of experts that could talk to some of the challenges that independent artists have in getting their music on air. And so that's simply the reason behind its formation. On our first panel, we had a great set of music directors like myself. We had Tracy Morgan, who's another industry vet.
Yes.
We had Amber Shaw,
yes,
another industry vet. Who else was on the first one? We had a great cast there, hosted by radio promoter extraordinaire Ebony Funderburg. So we all got together and we really just talked about some of the challenges that were met with in playing independent artist music. And so that's why the platform exists. And we're going to continue to build on the platform by this past week, we had radio promoters, because the first two, or even three, one of the biggest questions that we had in the chat was about radio promotion. How do you hire a radio promoter? What do you look for in a good radio promoter? Those kinds of questions were posed over and over and over again. So we put together a cast of radio promoters, and these were chosen, the ones that did the last one, which is episode 4, were chosen because they are currently servicing independent artist music, and all of them actually have had top 30 singles on the national Billboard level, as well as the other charts, the media-based charts, the indicator charts, internet charts, all of the charts. So they all represented records that they worked in 2020, not 2015 or 2002. But this year, these radio promoters, this cast, had success in the area of radio promotion with independent artists.
Absolutely.
And sometimes independent artists think that the charts are beyond their reach, but they're not, because all of these, the people at the table had success with independent artists, and sometimes first-time artists, meaning that they had not been to radio before. Some had repeats, but they were still all representing independent artists that were are experiencing success on radio right now.
Yes. Well, listen, let me tell you something. As someone who is started my own promotions company recently, I was there to learn and sit at the feet of these masters. I mean, and let me tell you guys something. I want to say this again. I think Robyn doesn't know me this well, but I will say this. Those of you that's watching my platform, you know me well enough to know I don't blow smoke. I don't say what I don't mean. But let me say this. The people that were on this panel were all-stars. It is like truly the all-star list of people you would want to hear this kind of content and information from Robyn McCollum to Pam Dixon to Ebony Funderburk to Uncle G to, oh my God, it was so many. I forgot a couple names, but listen, if you guys go over to the Facebook page, go follow the Gospel MD Chronicles. Make sure that you go follow that page, because I'm telling you, they throwing down over there. I'm trying to tell you, if you are an independent artist, I'm trying to tell you for real, you want to be over there, because this is all free information, you guys, and this is a thing that's so important. And all I'm here to do with my little bitty platform is to kind of help do my little part to also help you guys out. And that's what this platform is mostly designed to do. That's why I started it, was for indie artists to gain exposure and to get knowledge and information that I think is going to help you go forward in your careers. So let's talk about this, because one of the things I like that I saw on the Gospel MD Chronicles, Robyn, was that there was one session that Ebony, you guys had, I believe it was Ted Wynn and a couple other people, and they were talking about publishing and songwriting. And I wanted to touch on this a little bit this time. And it's not something I normally don't touch on with my radio people, but I want to ask you, if you didn't mind, just sharing a little light on, or shedding a little light on, why it's important for indie artists to understand publishing and the ins and outs of songwriting and royalties and all of that sort of thing.
Well, of course, I'm not the expert on publishing, and that's why we hosted the experts. The experts that day were Stan Jones, producer, songwriter extraordinaire. Also Fred Jerkins, another producer, songwriter extraordinaire, and what we consider in the industry one of the publishing guru, and that is Ted Wynn. Ted Wynn has his own publishing company, and he manages a catalog of many prominent gospel artists in the industry today, right now. So he had all the answers. And so one of the things that's important with independent artists is important that you get paid. That's just important. So you put all of your coins into budgeting for production, you budget for songwriters, you budget for studio time and recording and live and instruments and musicians and singers. You invest all of that in a product, and then the product gets to the shelf. And what you want to do is, you created it for the consumption of people, but at the same time, you still want a return on your investment. And so we thought it was important for independent artists in particular, because I talked to so many. I can't tell you how many times I called Ted Wynn and said, Ted, what does this mean? Ted, this artist, many times artists service music to me. They don't have publishing. Like, who's your publisher? because when I enter the information into my systems, I want to make sure that when it gets funneled through the proper places, that they get the proper credit. And if they are the songwriter on terrestrial radio, they get paid. I also own an internet station that's on the BDS panel. So when it plays on the station and goes through Sound Exchange, we want them to get paid.
Right.
So many times, independent service music that has no metadata. I ask for a writer. I ask for ISRC number, not for my own benefit, because I'm not getting a nickel from your music, but I want you to get money from your music. The labels have it all set up. They know when their song comes through the funnel, they're going to get the coins on the other end. But the independent artist who has spent time and money, invested both of those into getting their music to market, it's important that you have certain things in place so that you can get paid for it. It's that simple.
Whew, man. So as we can see, we're already off to a wonderful start with Radio Robyn here, and I want to give a shout out to a couple people. Robyn's cohort over at the Gospel MD Chronicles is on. A fellow music director, program director, Miss Pam Dixon. So glad to see you on, as well as listen, my boy, Mr. Keith Wonderboy Johnson, who's speaking to you there, Robyn.
Hey, Keith.
So glad to again see you all on. I want to do a deep dive a little bit on the metadata, because you know, when these artists, a lot of times they hear these terms, this terminology, and they're like, what is that? What is metadata? And what would you recommend is a part of an artist's metadata?
Metadata is just simply the identifying elements of your song. It is the title of your song. It is the when I also service music to radio. I have a company that does that as well. It's everything, all the elements of your song. So you need to have the correct title. You need to have the correct artist. So is the artist name this the name or that the name? You want to make sure that you have an ISRC number, which is kind of a social security number for your song. You also want to make sure you have as much of that data in your song. If you download something from iTunes and then you go to the info section, you'll see a bunch of information attached to that song after it's been serviced or downloaded or you're listening to it. All of that information is important because now it can follow your song around the world. If your song ends up in Timbuktu on a TV show, there's something that identifies your music. So you want to make sure that that data is embedded in your song and follows your song all around. And so with that audio, whether it's WAV or MP3, that information is embedded, and it's important that you have it in there. Many people service their music to radio, and it's from the iTunes master, and it already has it in there. But then I get songs all the time. And if I download that song, Derek, to my computer amongst the other 100 songs,
right,
I can't find it the next day because I don't know. You don't have a title, not even in the file name. There's no title. It might say song 01 mastered yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know. So there's no identifying information. So it's just data that goes along with their song. It's the information of the song.
I think you said something so powerfully, especially when you reference the ISRC number, because like you said, that number is international, and no matter where that song is played around the world, it will be able to be identified. And another thing, I always liken it to this for people to understand it easier. You know, when you get in your car, you know, a lot of the cars now have the sophisticated Bluetooth systems and in the panel. And when the song is on, you see the name of the artist, you see the name of the song. And so things of that sort. So that's why you want it to be identified so that you can properly get the credit. And so I appreciate you kind of, you know, breaking that down and dealing with that as well. Let me ask you this. I know you talked about you want to have the title, the artist, and the ISRC number. Is there anything else that you think is like an absolute essential that you are, as a program director, music director, are looking for when you're trying to see what's encoded in that song? Is there anything else?
Those two are the most important things, but unfortunately, sometimes I don't have those two accurately.
Mhm.
So I might see the metadata says this when I put it in my system, and then you send a song, but the title says this. And a lot of times I have to go back, particularly for independent artists, and clarify, what is the title of your song?
Mhm.
So yeah, those are the two most important things: the title of the song, the artist, and the ISRC code. If you have both of those, you're off to a great start. But Billboard in the past few years has been giving credit to producers. So producers inside your song, the name of the label that the song is on, if it's independent, if it's just you, if it's Derek Huggins is the name of the label, then put that in there. As much information as you possibly have on your song, you should place it in the song. And there are a lot of free tools out there, including iTunes, that allow you to enter that data in your song before you service it to radio. And many of our airplay systems just pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't have to figure it out. It just, when you upload it into the system, it sees all that data if it's been entered into the song properly.
All right, so folks, look, she said all that stuff to say this. You definitely want to make sure your song is properly encoded. And if you don't know how to do that, it's my suggestion that you reach out to someone who does know how to help you with that. I think Audacity is one, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the programs, and it's free from what I understand, that you can download to encode your music. I'm just saying, you might want to do this stuff, you guys, because it's definitely going to be advantageous for you to help you get the recognition that you're seeking. Go ahead.
Here's another tool for you. It's called Mp3 Tag. If you're sending Mp3 Tag, it's free, and it allows you to bring up your song, and you can enter not only the basic information, but you can dig down as much as information as you have. And use the extended tags, and the tool is free. It costs nothing.
So y'all get these free tools.
Free.
Amen. Get these free tools.
Free.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. And now I know you probably get this question asked all the time, but again, I don't want to just assume that everybody saw our last session, and I also don't want to assume that everyone watching knows this information. As a program director, radio announcer, honor personality, and all of the other titles they give you guys, what are some of the common mistakes indie artists make when they try to service their music to radio?
Mistakes. I think the main one is the one we just talked about, in that that is not enough information. I can't tell you how much if Pam is on here, she knows. We've been on the phone and we got an MP3 that had nothing attached to it, just the MP3. And it says, this long title that doesn't contain even the title of the song. I got a few of those today. I mean, I got one from a radio promoter that had just the MP3 and a cover, no information. Wow. And if it's somebody new, I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything. If anyone that's on here that's interested in knowing what to do to service to radio, I just posted over the past couple of days a detailed description of how to service to radio on the Gospel MD page. So it's facebook.com/the Gospel MD. And it has a list of things that you should not do and some things that you should do. So it actually breaks it down. It says, do this and do not do this. After the MD Chronicle session that we had on Saturday, my inbox was full of music, YouTube videos, Spotify links, as well as, can I have your email to send my music to you? Yep. So I had so many of them that I decided to just kind of put together something, because your friend requesting me because you saw me on the platform, but you're really doing it not because of me, but you're doing it because of you want to get your music to me, which is a
Absolutely.
lofty goal. I understand that. But friend requests me, and then they start posting stuff on my page.
Yes.
So,
Oh my gosh.
so
Can we please just, I'm not gonna take a lot of time on that, but I do want to address this because, like I said, even with my itty bitty platform, I get music every day the same way, and it'll get, and in my inbox, or my DMs on Instagram in particular, this happens a lot, but really on all of the platforms. They'll do like what you said. I'll get YouTube links. I get Spotify links. I get Apple Pay, or not. I'm sorry, Apple Music and the others. But to your point, it's like you friend me. You say, "Hey, friend, I accept," and then there's an immediate inbox message.
immediate, and then immediate.
and then the message doesn't even say, "Hey, how are you doing, Derek? I appreciate the platform. Appreciate what you got going on." None of that. It doesn't even say, "Hey, my name is." It's just, my music is
Here,
out. When it comes out, play this.
I got something in my inbox today. My Christmas CD is being released on this day. Here is my whole album. Can you
Yes,
play this on your station? I got that today.
the whole album.
The whole album. Can you
My
play
God.
this on my station?
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, I get those quite frequently. There's some things that you do, and that is the quickest way to get, for me, that's the quickest way to get you blocked, because I
Block.
think that's just a little bit disrespectful when you just throw your music at me without even introducing yourself. You don't
Yeah.
even introduce yourself. You just, here, I found out on this thing who you are, which is implied because I get it on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and here, play my music on your station.
Yes.
There's a process. Every single station has a process. Some processes are a little more strict than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some are loose and some are very tight. So it's up to you as an artist to figure out what that process is.
I'm always curious, and I want to know. This is kind of in the same vein. I'm always curious when I get, and this is not even necessarily even about playing the music on my platform either, but in general, the people who are really wanting support, but don't seem to have any intellectual curiosity as to why they're not getting further. And by that I mean, so if you've sent me blind messages demanding almost that I play your music, and then I'm not responding to that, right? And then you come back in some cases 2 or 3 more times doing the same thing. I'm always curious about why the person is not curious about why this is happening, or or why they're not getting any traction. I don't know if you have any insight on that, but I'm just
I
saying it's
do. I do. I do, because some artists, some platforms are looking for music, and so they may request music publicly. They may say, "Hey, I'm so and so, and I have this radio show, I have this radio station, I have this radio platform, and send me your music." And there's a lot of that out there, and so unfortunately, that doesn't mean all radio is created equal. So just because one person does it doesn't mean everybody does it. And I think that's the assumption, is that, oh, these platforms are always asking for my music. And I'm part of several groups on Facebook that deal with radio and music and independent artists, etc. And all the time, radio shows will pop up and say, "I'm putting together this show. Send me your music. Send me your music. Inbox me your music." So I think that comes from people thinking all radio is created equal.
okay.
Yes.
So speaking of all, the equality or the lack around radio, talk to me about the main nuances between terrestrial radio versus maybe internet, and in particular. And I know, like you said, they're all going to do their thing. That varies even within terrestrial radio. The requirements and submission requirements are different. But I want, because you mentioned about people saying, hey, I want you to send me your music. And so, like you said, that may be causing them to think, hey, well, I'll just do this everywhere. I'll just blanketly send this. I want to ask you, do you think it's important for an independent artist to first ask the station or the announcer or whomever if they're even accepting music?
Well, I addressed that in my post on the MD Chronicles, and some stations accept music unsolicited and some don't. So it's really up to you to determine whether that's the case. You should not ask via social media. You shouldn't ask, do you social media? Are you accepting music submissions? If you don't get a response to that, then they aren't. Is really that simple. If they are, then they'll respond to you. It's really that simple. If you're really targeting radio, if you're doing it in a professional manner, you just need to do some homework. You need to understand who you're approaching, what their level, what their platform is. And if they haven't publicly said, I'm accepting music, then I wouldn't send it to them. Me personally, I would, because I'm not accepting music via social media. But I do know that there are some out there who solicit that, and they say in a post, here, send me your music to this email. If they do that, if they're looking to solicit music for their show, for their station, then that's what they'll do. They'll provide you with some instructions to get that music to them. If they don't provide those instructions publicly, then my recommendation is that you not do that you not push them from that back door. Most radio stations, if they are accepting music submissions, they would have a website. They would give you some submission instructions. They will give you a submission email. For my internet station, of course, I have a form that you fill out. You upload your music. Lots of stations have those. So the onus is on you to do your homework. What I find is that people just kind of they might search Facebook for radio and then just start sending it out. Same thing for email. My station email is public. It's public knowledge. It's on our website. It's a lot of places. I've been at this station for 10 years. So there's a lot of lists out there that are floating around that have my email on it. So I get emails all the time that say, hey, programmers.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, programmers.
Almost like good morning, spammers.
And that might be okay.
Yeah.
Coming from a verified radio promoter, but not from somebody that I don't know.
Right.
That's not something that you send me. You wouldn't want somebody to send you and say, hey, people, apply for this credit card.
Exactly.
Apply for that credit card? Probably not. So
well,
if you're just throwing the balls up and just trying to see where they may drop, they're probably not going to drop at my station.
My God. Y'all heard that? It's probably not going to drop over at WNAP. y'all better make sure you're dropping it at the right place.
Just throwing it out there. Okay, let's see who's going to play my music. And if you're doing it that way, you probably wouldn't know if I played it or not.
Okay, let's deal with that. Because here's the thing. It's like if there is no personalization, right, to the servicing, then how do you know? And I'm asking this, I guess, more rhetorically than I am, actually. But how do you know if you're not really intellectually curious about where you're sending your music to? There's no tracking methodology of whatever sort. I mean, we ain't gonna deal with the BDS and the media base and all that. We're just gonna talk about, okay, do you even know who you've been sending your music to? And like, just say it. So you want to know that, Jason Nation here says trusting the process is key. I totally agree with that. And I actually have a question about that. I'm gonna get to it momentarily. And then, of course, Pam Dixon says you need to do your due diligence. Let me ask you all something out there with watching this for your independent artists. I want to deal with Pam Dixon's comment about doing due diligence, because the thing of it is this: if you were sought out, just put yourself in the place of the MD or the PD, and if someone sought you out, right, to help them, because essentially that's what you're asking for. You're asking for their help to put your music out there to be heard by the public and to their listening audiences. My question then is, how would you feel if someone just hit you up? And a lot of you all already know this. We get annoyed at family members, and these are people we know, right? They'll hit us up, and they only hit us up when they want something.
With some money.
Right? Which is right, usually money, right? And so it's like, I don't mind helping you, but you didn't even check on me. You know, I had foot surgery last week. Not really, but I'm just saying, if that was an instance, you know, you didn't even check on me. You didn't check to see if I had COVID-19 or anything. You just went straight to the jugular, right? And so I deal with this a lot in networking, because it's whether you're trying to get music service to radio, you're trying to sell a book, you're trying to get people to come to your virtual concert, whatever you got. Learn what true networking is, and that it is not you just blindly reaching out to people, adding them on Facebook, and then immediately DMing them and spamming their wall with your stuff. Let's not do that. Let's understand real networking deals with you building a rapport with whomever you're trying to get to assist or help you. Build a rapport with them and then treat them to your position, and you might have more success. Just saying.
That's true. That's very true.
What do you think?
I think I totally agree with everything you said there, because networking is just that. It's working within a network. And unfortunately, if you're not already in my network, you don't take kindly to being approached in a disrespectful way. And that's disrespectful. If you go through my inbox is my inbox, unless I've solicited for it. Because I go back to the fact that there are radio shows, even radio stations, that solicit submissions via their inbox. Again, all radio is not created equal. So it would be smarter for you to figure out who you're approaching. You said it, that's key. Who it is that you're approaching. Let's put this in a real life situation. You're at a conference or something, and you see someone. How do you approach them? Do you approach them with respect, or do you approach them with disrespect? If they're somebody that you honor, or somebody that you know is at a certain level, then you don't just run up to them and put your arm around them.
Yeah. Right.
You don't do that. You come and you introduce yourself respectfully. You shake their hand. You may offer music. I mean, I've attended conferences for decades. And in some cases, because I kind of sit behind the mic, a lot of times artists don't know who I am, which I like. They know who we are until they see us on a platform, right? Because we're behind the mic. So, but you the last thing you want to do is be disrespectful to someone who is a decision maker. You don't want to approach them with disrespect, because you don't know what that person can or cannot do for you. We just assume that something says radio, then you can play my music, but that is an incorrect assumption. Just because I'm in radio doesn't mean I can play your music. Doesn't mean there isn't a process. Doesn't mean that you can throw your music at us and we just start playing it. There is a process. And I think that's the biggest challenge with independent artists, is understanding the process, which is why we had the whole forum. Episode 4 was all about radio promoters and why they are important. If you really want to get traction at radio, you can do it yourself. I'm not going to say you can't do it yourself, because that is possible, but it is really very difficult. So you either have time or you have money. If you have a lot of time, then it may be something that you can learn to do. If you have a little bit of money, it is definitely going to get you farther. If you take the professional and let them be the intermediary between stations like Pam's and mine, so that who already have relationship. And that's what made those radio promoters key. Those that sat on that forum on Saturday, all of them have relationship, and in some cases decades of relationship with Pam and I, that where we're used to them servicing the music to us in the right way.
Right.
And for the
Look,
most part, they do come correct.
You set me up perfectly. But before I ask this question, I deal with this. I want to definitely shout out again to Jason Hendrickson, my main man, Mr. Broderick Purvis. What's up, Purvis? Good to see you,
Lord,
man.
Purvis.
I know Purvis, man.
That's my dude right there.
Good to see you. And Pam says, this is why the Gospel MD Chronicles exists, to help educate the indie artists on how to get their music to the next level. And again, that's really why I'm here as well. I want to do anything I can to kind of supplement whatever's going on. And in the event they may not have caught the Gospel MD Chronicles, hey, you can catch it over here too, and then we feed you back over to them, right? So at the end of the day, we're all in this thing together. And we're trying to help all the artists do what they need to do, because I know that's a big thing. I want to invite you all to ask questions as quickly as you can, because I know I only got a limited time with Robyn today. But I want to circle back to something you brought up, and you dealt with. You didn't say this word, but I'm going to say the word, which is entitlements. I want to deal with these independent artists' entitlements, and I want you all to know that these are artificial, and I want you to know this is what I call false entitlements, because I don't know where we get off thinking that, as to Robyn's point, that if you just saw her at a conference or wherever, or just because she's a radio program director, that you're just going to automatically get her to play your music. And I want to kind of deal with this because I want to ask you, why do you think the entitlements exist with certain artists? And do you find that there's a difference between age groups? Like, do you see maybe more of the younger artists do this more than older ones? Or what's your whole take on the entitlement thing? Just feeling like we must play your music. Your music must be exposed.
I mean, I think they just get it because I think artists sometimes get it from their peers. Instead of approaching a professional about how to do it correctly, they approach their peers and they say, people just look at radio as a vehicle to get music there, and they don't understand the process behind how that music gets there. And so they consult their peers. Oh, you think this is good on the radio? Oh yeah, I think that'll sound good on the radio. Okay, well, let me just reach out to some radio people. So I think it comes from that, just a misunderstanding. I don't think entitlements is definitely a name for the way I'm approached sometimes. And I don't think it's limited to older, young. I think I've had people much older who I finally released my CD after, 50 years, and I want you to play it.
Yeah.
Even in my own city, I live here in Philadelphia, a really big city. And there are a lot of people who have listened to my station. My station has been around for 47 years. So there's people that have been listening to the station for a long time. And if they have music, or relatives that have music, or friends, or, church members that have music, they send it the highway. They'll play it. But that's not true either. Just because.
Just send it over there. I know Robyn personally. Just send.
And a lot of them do. I've also been, a part of the gospel music scene in Philadelphia for decades, singing and playing and all of that in our city. So people know me. I mean, and been on the radio in this city for 10 years. People know who I am, and they assume, because they know me, that I'll play their music. I've been approached a couple of times this week already by people that I know on Facebook. Hey, who do I send my music to? But the assumption is that, and many of them send me emails of their music. Does that mean I'm going to play it? No, because again, there's a process, and I think it just comes from the lack of information, which is why Pam will tell you, this is why we created this platform, the MD Chronicles, is because we want to provide understanding so that they can do it correctly and their music can get played. If it's good, here's the premise to all of this. If your music is good, we want to play it. If your music is serviced properly, we want to play it, because we want good content to deliver on our platforms, not okay content. Not any kind of content, but we want good content to deliver on our platforms. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. And we believe that independent artists have some of that. So if you have that product, but you have no understanding, then
Yeah.
you can't get it to us so that we can deliver that great music to our audience. So the key is that middle part, that understanding. And the platform exists to provide understanding, to provide information, to provide direction, proper direction for good music. Now, the end to be all is good music to deliver to our audience. Let me repeat that.
Good music.
Good music. Great music, in fact, not just good, because every church I know here in Philadelphia, we have hundreds, thousands of churches.
Yes.
You could go a 1 mile square area could have
Memorial.
Okay, Memorial has some of the best singers in the world. All right.
Yes.
So here's the thing: they have some of the best, but here's the thing: we have all of these churches have great singers.
Mm-hmm.
We as a culture, every church has some good singers in it. Everyone that are recording quality. You could develop artists in most Black churches. You could develop somebody in that church to become a platform singing artist.
Yeah.
And so people, because they are, I hate to say it, a dime a dozen. Every church has one. Mm-hmm. And so just because you are great at your church doesn't mean your music will translate to radio. They're not synonymous. It's not. They're not synonymous. They don't mean the same thing.
You actually, now I'm glad you said this, because actually what you helped me do is clarify my question about the entitlement thing. And I really think this is a real thing. And this is why I'm addressing this. I've been in conversations or around conversations with artists who feel entitled that because they have a beautiful voice or they have a good local following, that entitles them to these things. And when I hear them speak, I can tell that they're not educated, because they say things that I know are no-nos. I know they didn't do their due diligence. I know they didn't, find out the culture of the station. They didn't find out the format of the station. They don't know who's programming the music at the station. They don't even know the announcer of the show they want the music to be on. And so, but I got to shout out real quick before I forget. Roger Purvis is over here acting up in these comments, talking about you won't play his A-track. And then Amber chimed in.
Let me repeat what Amber said this morning. Yeah. Make sure you check out Broderick, because he sings on his show. I mean, he really does sing.
Okay.
I mean, my brother sings from the heart, like he really does. So check out his show. He plays awesome music. Now, he is a great connoisseur of music. He knows gospel music. He's been doing it for decades, and he knows great gospel music. You got to service it right, even to Broderick.
Well, Broderick, you heard it. I mean, even you got to service it. You got to service it right, brother. And Amber, of course, says you have to sing it to her so she can get the full effect. Well, Robyn, do you have time for Brother Broderick to sing it to you to get the full effect? I imagine you probably don't have that kind of time. But you tell me, I could be wrong.
Every time somebody joins his live, he always talks about his next CD or his 8-track. He does sing on his show. He's unashamed. He sings from the bottom of his heart every song.
I love it.
He does. That's my brother.
Let's talk about this, because you said, oh my God, there's so much and there's just so little time. But I want to try to deal with. You talked about good music. Now, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that good music is relative to the person with this opinion. And I want to know from you, per Radio Robyn, what is good music?
What is good music?
If it's and if what is radio ready music?
All right. In 2020,
the
length is important. It can't be a 6-minute song. Do not send me a 6-minute song. But good music is music that resonates with our listeners. Mm-hmm. And I say this on every platform. All radio is not created equal, because what I would play, Broderick may not play. What Broderick may not play, Pam may not play. What Pam may play may not suit Amber's audience. We are located in all different parts of the country. We have different demographics. Some of our demographics are older, some are younger. we know who our demographic is. We know who's listening to our station for the most part. And what we want to do is provide them with the best music. Is it personal sometimes? In a way, because we have developed the personality of the station. As the music director, I know the personality of my station. I know what my PD is expecting, what my GM is expecting, what kind of audience we have, and what kind of music I can deliver to them. I can't play hip hop. I can't play jazz, or I don't have, my clock doesn't allow for certain types of music. Is the music bad? No, it's good. And I may have it on my personal device
Right.
to listen to. I may be listening to it every day, but it doesn't not mean that it fits my format.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, independents get upset all the time with the fact that, what do you mean it's not good? It's not good for me. And it may be good to you, for you and your mama and the people at your church and the people in your city, but it may not be good for my listeners. And so I think one of the mistakes that independents make in particular is thinking that their music is going to fit my audience just because they sent it. And that's not necessarily the case. Just because you send it, don't be offended when it doesn't fit my format, or I don't have room to add new music. We don't add music every day. We don't play new music every day. If it gets to a rotational point, sometimes I'll play a single on a new music day. I have new music days on Tuesdays and Fridays. Jason is on here. His song is in my rotation. And there are some on here whose songs are in my rotation. That means it plays on a regular basis more than a few times. But I may play a song I may think is good for me, and I may get the clear from my PD to play it in a light way. But that doesn't entitle you to a certain level of airplay just because you made the music. And that's the entitlement part. Just because you made it doesn't mean I have to play it.
Amen and amen. Just like when y'all go to the grocery store and someone makes a cereal, that don't mean you're going to buy it just because they made it. That's just like them come and tell you, we buy my cereal because I made it. No, that's not how this works. Well, your cereal's in Walmart. That don't mean I want it. Just saying.
That's good. And I liken music to radio singles to product, retail product all the time.
Yeah.
You go in the grocery store, and like you said, you got a whole aisle of cereal. Yes. You got a whole aisle of cereal. You have your cart. You can decide to put this cereal in your cart to take to your house, to your family. Just because it's on that shelf doesn't mean I have to take that to my family. Just because you deliver the music doesn't mean I have to play it for my audience.
Absolutely. Look, that's good stuff. And I want to talk, this segues me into my next segment, which deals with breaking a song on radio, and specifically the various length of time it takes to do that. But I got these comments got me tickled. First of all, shout out to Double D in the house. I appreciate. Look, Double D, you just entered the comments like gangbusters. I like that introduction. He like Double D in the house.
That's one of my mentors. That guy right there. He is. If you ever listen to Gospel Highway 11, he is the voice of the highway. He is the imager behind the highway. He is that dude.
Double D, love it, brother. Appreciate that. Again, Pam Dixon says, once again, due diligence. If a station is not playing rap, don't submit rap. Absolutely. Jason is in mine too, and I sing a song on the air. Singing Broderick Purvis sings songs on the air. Indie artist, if you are fortunate enough to get your song on the air with Brother Broderick Purvis, then chances are your song will be sung on the air. I'm just saying, maybe. Don't hold me to that. I ain't got nothing to do with that, but just saying.
Can I say that's a key to radio friendly? Is a song that's singable. If Broderick can't sing, he probably is not going to play it, because he needs to be able to sing and vibe to the song. The same with me. If the song is not going to do anything personally for us, we know it's not going to translate well to our audience. So singability is really important in today's climate. And well, that's with any format. I mean, when you turn on the radio, you want to sing along. That's one of the reasons that you have radio. Otherwise, people can just stream it to have it as background music or whatever, whatever they use it for. But radio is a different kind of medium. Is to deliver people something that's singable, something that resonates, something that means something. In gospel music has that at another level for our audience, because it has a meaning.
I'm hearing you talk, and I told someone the other day, I said I'm getting ready to do a series on All Access Gospel, and the series is going to be called "Before You Record This Music." Once again, before you record this music. And the reason why I want to do this is because, and I know if I had some other, well, I know because you promote music to radio, you service music to radio, Amber services music to radio. Y'all know what happens is the person doesn't consult anybody about the quality. You talk about the level of music. Is it good music or what have you? Does it resonate? Does it have an appealing message, and etc.? And then what happens is they send it to the promoter, expecting them to work magic. And it's like, but boo, this music is not serviceable. So that's coming. Please mark your calendars, saints, ain'ts, and friends. All Access Gospel, before you record this music. But get some help.
Get some help. I mean, you know what? That's why.
Yes.
That's why radio promoter is so important, because the radio promoter, that is why we as MDs trust radio promoters, because they have done their due diligence. They have told the artist, well, this is a good song, but this is how far it can get. They should give you some realistic expectations regarding your song. If it's a great song, first of all, the radio promoter should believe in it more than anybody else. But if they push back at all, then you might need to go back to the drawing board. And here's the thing. If you put out a song and nobody's streaming it and nobody's downloading it, probably not going to do well in radio either. Mm-hmm. Because if you hear, Derek, a good song in the supermarket,
yes,
you're going to Shazam that song. Who is that?
That's
you
correct.
Can Shazam the song anywhere, and you can find out who it is. And Shazam now allows you to add that song to your personal playlist immediately. Yes. And I could show you hundreds of songs in my Shazam playlist from listening to radio. So you hear a good song, it resonates with, it only takes one spin. You hear it one time, and that song can, man, who is that? Turn that up. Whatever the case is, you hear it. And if it resonates, people will stream it, people will buy it, people will support it. And people, most cases, they will look you up on, today in 2020, they can look you up on social media, which is why your social media should be in place to receive new listeners if your music is gone to radio. One of the challenges I see with independent artists is they send me their music and I can't find them anywhere.
Wow.
I can't find them anywhere for me to become a personal fan. Mm-hmm. Like, dang, I want to hear some more of this artist. Well, they only got one song on Spotify under this name, and they don't have any social media. So I can't, while I wanted to be a fan of this song, I can't become a personal fan even.
Yeah. Ooh, this is, man, I hope you guys are getting any value. If you're getting some value out of this, type yes, Lord, or something down in the comment section, so that my guest can know that she is really bringing it tonight with the information. And that's what this platform is here to do, and what this particular series is here to do. I want to deal with this too, about breaking a song in radio and what is the expected time. And I know you guys dealt with this on the Gospel MD on Saturday, but I also, again, just there might be some people that didn't get to see it. You talked about, I remember you were talking, I believe Uncle G and a couple of the other radio promoters talked about this. And Jason Nation said this a little earlier in his comments when he was saying, trust the process. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the process of breaking a song into radio and why patience is a necessity?
Breaking a song, that's the key word. I mean, the song is really not broken into radio anymore. I mean, that was some of the jargon used in back in my younger days. But typically for new independent artists, and I say new, I stress that it just takes time for us to get you familiar with our audience. That takes time. Now I add new music, and Pam adds the same way. We add a little slow for most music.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song every once in a while that may get a jump start because we feel that this song is delivering a great message to our audience. And I can't stress that enough. We know our audience, what our audience needs. They call us on the phone. We deal with them in the street. We go to remotes. We meet them. We know them. We know when they call and when they respond to a song. So and since we have developed the personality of our audience, we understand what's going to resonate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a song in, and if the song is good, then it probably we start it slow and see how our audience responds to the song. We've had songs that we've put in that we didn't think, and when I say we, I mean our team at Gospel Highway 11 were the greatest song, but our audience started calling for them. They started requesting the song. Requests don't come in like they used to back in the day, but we still man the phones and we still listen to our audience. And I know Pam does too, and I know Roderick does too, and I know Amber opens her phone lines as well. And so we hear what they say, what they like. We have on Wednesdays, we have All Request Wednesdays, and we give our audience the opportunity to call in for your favorite song. Fortunately, most of the time, the songs are classics, the old songs.
Right.
Every once in a while, we'll get really good feedback on a newer song. What's that song you played? They might know a word or two in the song. They might be able to sing the hook to the song. Then we know now this song is resonating with our audience, and so we have to move it up a little bit.
Yeah.
For a new artist. So it does take time. And I think to answer your question about the process, there is no set time. It depends on the artist. It depends on the song. And it also depends on what the artist is doing for themselves. I know my friend Bobby Parker was on a few months ago or last month sometime, and he talked about the song having some buzz. That was so key because if I see a press release, I see you on social media, I see you on platform A, platform B, I see you performing the song live, I go to your YouTube channel and you're really interacting with the people are responding to you. Those things help me determine how I'm going to play your song. I look on I use BDS Radio a lot, which is a tool that allows radio to see how songs are doing nationwide. I look and I see your streams are moving quickly. I see you're good in this city and that city and that city. I start to play your song in Philadelphia and I see the streams start to go up. That means my airplay is contributing to your streams. Mm-hmm. So if I see that happening, then I'm going to move the song up and up and up. It just really depends on how our audience responds, how we respond, and how we feel about the song. That it takes time. Now, it might take longer to build on my station than Broderick's. Broderick might start it out. He might, oh my God, this is my song. And he might start it out at 20 spins a week. Well, it's not working so much for me. So I may start it out at 7 or 5 if it gets to rotation. So there is no definitive answer for that. All radio is not created equal. So it takes time. Promoters know that it does take time to work it to radio. So I'm working a song, they're working a song to me, and they have to week after week say, can you play this new artist? Can you play this new artist? They don't have to really beg for Donnie McClurkin or Kirk Franklin or Shirley Caesar like they do for somebody that's brand new now you're asking me to introduce somebody new to my audience. Hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. And I think, again, just the bottom line is going to be, I think expectation setting is appropriate. And I know you guys talked about this on the Gospel MD Chronicle Saturday when a lot of the promoters were saying this. And I think even Amber Shaw mentioned this in the comments during that. And we're talking about if the expectations are appropriate from the beginning, then what it does is you manage your expectations in a way that you don't get frustrated if your song, you thought you were going to put the song out, this week, and then next week it was going to be #1 on the Billboard charts. Like you said, that's not the case. And I want to give an example of this. I believe it's the current #1 song on Billboard radio airplay, and that's "Trouble Don't Last Always," I believe, by Keandra Lockett, or it was. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, well, my bad. But my point is, I know that song it's been out a minute because I had Keandra Lockett on my show. I think this was back in April, maybe March. I know it was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so my point is, and it had been out a while then at that point, but it just, what you said a couple weeks ago now, got to #1. And I want to talk about this too, because you all talked about it being an accomplishment. If you chart at all on any position, you won. Like, celebrate the small victories. And that's something I always share with my artist, Robyn. I tell her, you know, we're going to celebrate every win. I make a big deal out of it because what I'm trying to do is not just manage morale, but also help you understand that's a psychological victory too. Because when you get any kind of success, and I want to say this too, and you tell me what you think about this position. I believe that success is what you define it to be. And I think a lot of times artists tend to feel frustrated because they're trying to live up to someone else's standard of what success means. Well, what are you setting out to do? Are you accomplishing some of those things? Are you on track to do those things? Maybe you hadn't fully gotten there, but hey, you're on track to do it. And so I want you to speak to that. What do you think about that? What I just said about success and what it means for you?
Well, I agree. Success is relative. And I think one of the biggest problems with independents is they compare themselves to another success. And I think your success has to be defined by you. Typically with a radio promoter, and I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. You want to set a goal that is realistic. And if you exceed that goal, then the client is excited. But you want to set something that's realistic. And out the gate, getting to, I think Jeff said, and I saw him on here, big shout out to Jeff Grant.
Grant.
I think he said on the panel on Saturday that if you get to the top 100 as a brand new independent artist, that is a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
One of the charts that goes out every week and everybody is waiting for is a chart called the Top 500. And I've seen artists, and I get excited for them because I see them celebrating number 247. Or number 160, because that means of the 500 songs, top songs in the country, I am among those. And in a climate where thousands of songs are released daily, that's huge. That's huge. When you can get enough continuous airplay on the top stations in the nation to appear, for your song to have enough spins to rank on the top 500 chart, and then the top 400 and 300 and 200, and to get, and like he said, to get to the 100 is huge. It's big for you to get there as an independent new artist. That means you have enough spins this week to rank among the top 100 songs in the country. Huge. And I think one of the problems that independent artists have is their level of comparison to others. And they think, my song, I've heard this repeatedly, my song is just as good as this song that's on the top 30 chart. I hear that all the time.
I do too.
And here's the thing, it might be true. In many cases, it is true. You may have, that's relative too. You may have a great song that's just as good, but there's a lot that goes into getting songs to radio. And that's why we're here, to explain to you that there is a process, because sometimes you haven't followed the process. You don't have social media. You're not traveling around the country. You're not doing interviews. There's so many things that you're not doing, but you don't see those things because those things are not broadcast. All you see is their chart position. All you see is their success. You don't see what they are doing to get to that level. And then on the flip side, you see artists working really hard. They work really hard and they think they're working just as hard, but you just never know what someone else is doing to get to a place. You talked earlier about relationships. You talked earlier about networking. Sometimes it has a lot to do with that. It has a lot to do with how you service your music, how you deliver your music, your platforms. What does your social media look like? You don't know all those things. So that's why it's important to be on platforms like this and get exposed to the information that's going to take you to that next level. Did I answer your question?
Listen, first of all, like the comments is going nuts. Shout out to Fred Jerkins, Alexis Stackhouse Clark, all of y'all, Yolanda Dates, all of you guys that are in the comments over here going in. Amber Shaw says some of the songs, I want to make sure we've seen it #1 in the last few months, have been spinning on radio for weeks, 25 plus.
No, how about the Keandra Lockett you mentioned had been on the top 30 chart for 33 weeks before it got to #1. I think it got to #1 on its 34th or 34th week. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. That is a half a year plus. That's 7-8 months.
Yeah.
Okay. On the top 30 chart. Most artists run out of time and money by month 3.
My God.
She was on she was in the top 30 for 33 weeks before she reached that pinnacle place. It takes a long time to get to top 30, let alone be in the top 30 for 33 weeks. So I want y'all to do the math on that.
Woo-wee.
Do you have the time or the effort or the longevity
and the money
to you know, because it's not just money sometimes. It's a whole lot of other things that go into that, but that's a long time. So I mean, sometimes it takes 3 months, 4 months to get to the top 30. And then to actually spend 33 weeks on the chart and then get to #1. So it takes time, it takes effort, it takes stick-to-itiveness, it takes patience, it takes trust in your radio promoter and what they're talking about and what they're doing, if you ever want to get to that level. And this is not Keandra's first record.
Right.
This is her highest charting record.
Right.
But she's gotten to the top 30 multiple times. So she didn't say, oh, I didn't make #1. She did it again. And if you look on her Facebook page, you'll see that she's ready to do it again in 2021. So it's a commitment and it's a process. And I think for the most part, most independent artists run out of commitment, process time, patience, and money before they see the prize.
Listen, shout out to all these wonderful people coming on. I see Dr. Maria Watkins on here. I see my girl Lakia Stokes is on. The legend, Dr. Bobby Parker, who's going across the pond. He's going across the pond over to the UK. Shout out to my brother, Dr. Bobby Parker, man. Look, you know, Bobby just reiterated right here in this comment. It said it takes a great song. And you said you talked about this early on, and I see you consistently say that. Whatever platform you're on, you're always talking about it needs to be a good song, a great song. And so wanted to definitely shout that out as well. And you know what? When you talked about, Keandra had been on the chart, the top 30 for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I think Amber brought that up too in the comments. I like what you said about she just didn't like, oh, well, and again, as I interviewed her and I know this because I've heard her say this herself. You know, there are times as an artist, and I would say any creative, frankly, whatever it is that you're doing creatively, that you may have moments where it feels like, hey, is this worth me doing it? You know, and only you could use a word like stick-to-itiveness so eloquently, Robyn, that I actually am convinced. And normally I ain't convinced with those kind of words, but you convinced me because you said it and you're so articulate in that way. But I think one of the bigger things is, and I know this is something that you do, you go and look at the artist's social media and you see how they're promoting what they're doing. And one of the things I loved about Keandra, and I told her so, I like how she is consistently promoting what she's doing. Music, and I think now she's got her clothing line. She's doing that a lot. And so can you speak to that too, how you guys as radio announcers, program directors, MDs, or whatever, are looking at social media and what you're looking for?
Well,
or at?
I look for independent artists because, again, I have some slots on my clock for independent artists. So I want to give the independent artists that are working the hardest the opportunity to get rotational airplay. It's really just as simple as that. So if you're the difference between artist one and artist two is artist one is on social media on a regular. I see them singing. Their YouTube channel is active. They're performing. They're getting dates. And even in COVID, a lot of independent artists are getting virtual platforms. They're just as popular now as the live platforms. I see them just being them. I see them interacting with their audience. I see them every once in a while just coming out there just singing. I see them, proactively promoting their artistry. But if you're absent from a platform that allows you to interact with an audience, why should I expose you to my audience? So somebody from a loyal listener on our station, Yolanda Dates, is on here, and she is a loyal listener to our station. Yeah. She's from across the world. She listens on a regular, interacts on a regular. We interact back with her on a regular. She calls in on a regular. She is a prized listener of Gospel Highway 11. So I'm going to make sure that for listeners like Yolanda, that I pick and choose artists that she may connect with. There are songs that she loves. She may want to connect with that artist, and she goes to look for that artist, and they are nowhere to be found. Or what is found is not really favorable for Christian artists. So I'm exposing you to my audience. So I need to go and look and see who I'm exposed. It's like your children. Your children, you don't let everybody in your house. You don't let everybody in the circle of your children. Audience, listeners, you're not my children, but it's the same kind of protectiveness of your listeners. You want to make sure we take this really seriously as a responsibility in delivering this music. And we get so much of it. It's just important that we give artists that are working an opportunity, and we make sure that our audience is pleased with the product that we deliver. And so if they go and Shazam the song, and they Shazam and it's Derek Huggins, and they type in Derek Huggins and they see Derek Huggins, they don't see Derek Huggins, doing some inappropriate things.
Right.
So,
well,
did that answer?
Bam. It did. And I want to just throw this quick thing in about Shazam, because I noticed a lot of artists, when they're doing their digital distribution, they don't include Shazam. And one of the things I found was with my artists, I have them Shazamming, and when I get these reports in, I'm seeing her music is being Shazammed. And that is so dope to me, because what it says is, they're, like you said, they're probably hearing it on radio, and someone's trying like, oh, who is that? And so they Shazam it. And so I think that's a really great tool. So if you guys don't know about Shazam, hey, get into it. The last thing I want to close out with, and I could talk to you all night, because you are just such a wealth of information, and I can tell by these comments in the comment section that people are getting value out of the information. I mean, we got heavyweights on here like Bobby Parker and Amber Shaw and Fred Jerkins and all of y'all, Broderick Purvis and all of y'all. I really appreciate y'all for being on here. But listen, I want to deal with this. Y'all dealt with this a little bit on the Gospel MD Chronicles Saturday, and y'all were talking about payola versus promotion. I don't know if you remember that part kind of came up. And one of the things what I really wanted to cover was the value of promotion, and how do you distinguish it from payola, and if we can hit on that a little bit as we spend our final moments here. and Broderick said, Derek, tell her to play my 8-track 25 spins per week.
All right, I will, Broderick, if you play mine at least 10. If you play mine at least 10, and you know exactly what song I'm talking about. Send me your 8-track, and I already sent you my stuff today. So you already know. Anyway, put you on the spot. I love Broderick. I do. And I love, you know, I also love what Broderick is doing in his community. Just this is just a shameless plug. One of the things as radio personalities, you have a platform to reach people. And he's not only a pastor there in Louisville, Kentucky, he also is doing something almost every week. I see him with his food pantry. I see him going out and about in the community, doing great things for his community. So hats off to you, Broderick, as a radio personality and also as a pinnacle person there in Louisville, Kentucky, reaching the people in so many ways. Because people are listening to his music, but he's taken a responsibility as a pastor in that community to also feed them and help them in the midst of this tragic time in our lives. So hats off to you, my brother, in all seriousness. Okay.
Hats off to the MVP of the night, Dr. Bishop, Pastor, Apostle, Broderick Sangin Purvis of Louisville, Kentucky, doing great work down there in the community of Louisville, Kentucky. And I won't even get on that because I think Amber brought up about the whole Louisville thing and why it's pronounced Louisville, but it's spelled Louisville.
Oh, yeah, she did say that, didn't she?
We got Amber, I just wanted to give you that little hat tip. I agree. I mean, that was kind of one of my questions. I mean, it's trivial. It don't really matter, but hey, I'm just saying. Okay, but go ahead, Robyn.
All right, so we did talk about it. And in fact, on the MD Chronicles, my brother Jeff Grant, he actually went to Webster and he produced a definition of what payola is. Payola is basically paying some individual at a station for a certain amount of spins for any kind of airplay, no matter what kind of airplay it is. It's paying that individual. Promotions is different. I liken it to this. And promotions via the FCC, even if it's promotional spins, they are not illegal. Payola is illegal. It's illegal for me to go to Broderick and say, Broderick, here, I'm giving you $100. I need 100 spins, or I need anything as far as my artistry goes. But promotion is what you do to expose yourself on a station. You want to expose your music. Ultimately, it's all, you said it is key. Shazam. If I don't hear your song on the radio, I can't Shazam it. But if you have an opportunity at a station to do a promotion, whether that's a commercial that has your song, clips of your song playing in it, or whether it's a segment of your song being played on radio, gives the listeners an opportunity to now be exposed to your music. And if your song is banging, they're going to Shazam it and probably now be familiar with you and follow you and connect with you and be a fan of you and all of those things. If you can have the best song in the world, but if nobody hears it, what's that song going to do? So promotions is what many stations have. They have promotions. Some have different every station has different kinds of promotions. I think somebody mentioned Praise in the Park. That was a promotional.
That's a big one.
That's a big one, and that was done in most of the major urban one cities. And most stations, Pam's and even mine, have had big events where we invite artists in to minister to on our platforms to our audience, and in those cases, we'll play your song leading up to that. So those are called promotional opportunities. Promotions is different than payola. Payola is illegal, and you can go to jail and be fined for that. And that is handing someone in a seat some valuable item and saying, in exchange for this valuable item, I need you to play my music. You need to play my music, not the station, but you need to play my music. And the key is, and we looked this up today, is you have to expose the sponsor of that particular promotion. So if you say, I'm playing, Robyn McGee, is one of your artists.
Right.
That was Robyn McGee, brought to you by the Indie Artist Corner. That is a promotion. That is not a payola situation. That is a promotion. Did I answer
Thank you. You really did. And speaking of Robyn McGee, she said, I thought that was pay for play, which I know that's been used interchangeably. That term pay for play used interchangeably to represent payola as well. Man, ladies and gentlemen, look, I gotta let my guest go because she's a busy woman and she's had a long day saving the world on radio, one indie artist at a time. And I appreciate her so very much. Robyn, thank you so much. Can you just let the people know how they can follow you? Now, Saints,
don't do it because it's Saturday. It was crazy.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave that alone. So, Saints, let me just say this.
Well, it's right there in the corner. It's right there on the screen. It's Radio
okay.
Robyn.
There you go.
I am on all platforms.
At Radio Robyn. Don't go to her DMs tonight, Saints. Give it a couple days.
I got so many video, and you know, I just got so many YouTube links. Like, why are you sending me YouTube link? Or why would you send me a download link? You think I'm going to download your music? I'm going to pay money to download your music to play on my station?
Yeah.
That just confuses me. But yeah, that it happened. It happened this weekend.
Okay, so look, there's so much going on in these comments.
I keep trying to take a peek at the comments.
Right, I'm trying to be interactive because I like my show to be more interactive with those who are watching. But so thank you all again for watching. Everybody that gave your feedback, we appreciate it so much. Amber Shaw, yes, you can have my Texas raised sign behind me. Yes, ma'am. I will send it to you just because you are Amber Shaw and I love you and you do great work over there at New Day with Amber Shaw. And I also want to say this too. I forgot to say this earlier because you know Amber, you know she's global now. She's on Rhythm and Praise LA, her LA station. She said that one day on the radio, Robyn, and I was just messing with her. And I know she didn't mean it the way it sound. It sounded like she was like, "Oh yeah, on my LA station," and I was like, "Come on, LA station." Okay. And so anyway, but shout out to Rhythm and Praise LA and everybody over there. But I really appreciate that. And yes, Amber, you can have my Texas raised sign. And I mean that too. I'll let you have it. But that being said, thank you again, Robyn. Is there anything that you want to say like in closing before we close everything out today? Fantastic information as always. I just appreciate you so very much, not just for being a guest tonight, but also for what you and Pam Dixon, again, shout out to Pam Dixon. Love you, Pam, and appreciate what you guys are doing over at the Gospel MD Chronicles, Ebony Funderburk, and all of y'all over there doing great work for the Lord, for Jesus. And thank you for what you're doing over at Gospel Highway 11 up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WNAP. Y'all make sure y'all check it out. And they can listen online. Is it My Gospel Highway 11?
GospelHighway11.com. Yep.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Actually there. And I'm on starting at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
But in closing, just connect to the MD Chronicles because if you have questions regarding radio or getting your music to radio, is not a place for you to service your music, though. It's not that kind of platform. But it is a platform that will get your serious questions answered. Now, if you start servicing music, we're going to delete you, block you. Don't service your music on that platform. It's not for MDs to see your music. Go through the proper channels. There is a detailed post on there that I put up earlier today, that I modified a little bit earlier today. If you have any questions about anything that's listed there, just keep your eye on that platform. If you have any questions, we are there to answer them for you. We created this platform. Pam is the initiator of it. She's the brainchild. And it's so that we can get some great music to deliver to our great audiences. We believe you as independent artists do have great music, and we happen to be at stations where we are part of making decisions on what gets played. And if you have a great song, we want to play it because we want our audience to stay tuned. We want our audience to stay tuned while the commercials are playing. Oh, I can't wait to that next great song. I can't get, but don't, you service something bad, they're going to turn off the radio, and we don't want that.
We don't want that. So that's my time with my guest, the wonderful Robyn McCollum, aka Radio Robyn. Man, make sure y'all check her out on Gospel Highway 11 up in there, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Also, make sure that you guys check her and Pam Dixon out as well my girl Ebony Funderburk on the Gospel MD Chronicles as well. Shout out to all the wonderful, amazing radio gospel legend announcers that were on tonight, sharing your information. All these great gospel independent artists that were on tonight. A couple quick programming notes. I want to throw this in really quickly. On tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, I am doing New Release Friday with Robyn McGee, who is releasing her new single, Joy to the World, right in time for the holiday season. So she will be on with me tomorrow night, along with the Agape Music Group down there in Atlanta, Georgia. And they're releasing their new song, Assurance. Actually, I think it already just released, but we're featuring them tomorrow. So go and check me out tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all come on and check us out if you be so kind. Make sure you also follow us over on all social media platforms. Now, I want to see some of y'all. I see in these comments. Make sure y'all go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at AA Gospel. And our website is www.allaccessgospel.com. And speaking of my guest who will be on with me tomorrow, got a little snippet I just want to play for y'all for her song Joy to the World. And then we'll be right back and we're going to close this thing out. Yes, indeed. Joy to the World, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, it drops tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then that's 11 o'clock Central Standard Time in our time zone here. So make sure you guys check that out. She will also be on with me tomorrow for our new music release Friday, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So y'all come on back if you can. Join us. We'd be so glad to have you. Radio Robyn, you are the bomb.com. You are the GOAT. I appreciate you. Love you much. Thank you so much. Going to be tuning in to Gospel Highway 11 at the 2 o'clock hour. That's Eastern Standard Time for all my Texas folks. Y'all remember we're an hour behind them. So don't get on there at 1 o'clock. Tell me, I don't hear Robyn. She ain't on yet. Anyway, we appreciate you so much. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for being faithful. Those of you that watch us, that follow us, all of that. Yeah, did you have something else?
One last thing. I also am PD and voice of an internet station, Black Gospel Radio, which is a 24-hour gospel station as well.
Black Gospel Radio, y'all, listen, it's good stuff too. It's a great website and they play great gospel music. So get on over there. If it's nighttime and you're cooking spaghetti, and some of y'all can't cook, but that's okay. If whatever you cooking, if it ain't tasty, then just listen to some good gospel music and it's going to put you in the mood. And even if it don't taste good, the music is good and all is going to be well, okay? All right, so I love you guys. I appreciate you again. I'm out. This has been All Access Gospel in the Artist Corner, and it's the 411 on radio. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.